Hey you, come on, sit down. You're sitting at the growing up table. I'm your host, Jesse Pimpinella. John is on assignment tonight, but we have an incredible show for you guys. Special treat, some good friends of mine, fellow artists, I will say, directors, documentarians, actors. They're everything. Comedians, they're great. They're some of my favorite people to talk to. So I bring on to the air Balls and Matt Onesti. What's up, guys?
Hey now, buddy.
All right. So today we are going to talk about original horror films because this is the second installment of our Spooktacular. We're going to be talking about some of the big ones that came out. Even though we're staying in the 2025 area, we could veer into 2024 because, yes, original content is kind of making a strong comeback. It's coming back. I mean, we're seeing a lot of it in the box office, how successful it's been. Sinners, Weapons. I know we won't talk about some of these Dangerous Animals presents together. A lot of these are coming out of nowhere as left field and just scoring high. So we're going to, before we get into talks about the movies, what are some of your guys' favorite movies this year?
Wheels, you want to go first, or I can go first? Don't mind.
We're gonna start. Here's what we're gonna do, because Balls and I, it's very unfair. We have our own Film Snobs podcast where we torture each other with movies. So if you follow that, you're gonna probably understand what I'm about to say next. We're gonna let Balls go first because I am a new convert to the horror crowd and the horror culture. So I think Balls should lead us off. And speaking of spooky season, I see a spooky over your shoulder.
Yeah.
I'm just here to say one thing. Together is not original. It was a ripoff, and they got sued. So I would take it.
All right, fine, guys. This is the second reason we don't talk about the Franco family now.
And then also, Weapons kind of ripped off of a Nat Cassidy book called Nestlings. 10 out of 10 recommend Nestlings. But once again, ripped it off. So
she's our resident bookworm.
Oh my God, we're gonna have to talk about that. Like, when you say ripped off, like, are we talking word for like page for page, or are we talking story structure?
Story structure and like, are you going into spoilers for Weapons?
Yeah, we're going into spoilers.
Okay, so like the whole stick thing, parasite thing, Nestlings did that, and it was pretty close. Like super close.
Yeah, but did it have 7 hot dogs in it?
Did it have 7 hot dogs in it? Boom.
No.
Didn't have a Trevor Moore reference. There you go. I think you broke balls. I think you literally broke balls just now. I can't tell if his screen is frozen or is he broken.
I think he's frozen. He hasn't blinked.
Balls. No, I think you broke him.
I've always been broken on the inside. This is just a happy face.
You were frozen for a while, or we don't know which one.
I was doing my best Max Headroom.
Well, all right. So I know you have your opinions on horror movies, which, by the way, when we have our Bride of Pimpy podcast back, you'll be able to see more of her opinions. But let's talk about your guys' favorite movie. So,
Can
Balls.
I say one more thing, though?
Yes, you may.
Fuck Damien Leone.
Oh, my God.
Fucker.
God damn it.
Terrifier 3 sucks.
You just broke balls again. Look at that man.
That's it. I'm fucking out of here. I'm leaving.
Okay. my thing with Damien Leone, because he's still, I'm mad because he's Italian, so he's like one of our people, but he sucks ass.
Yeah, but that's one of my favorite things is that Spooky is a self-hating Italian.
She is.
Italians.
Is it politically correct to say Uncle Tom Italian?
Probably not.
No, not at all. No, like.
No, it's because you're saying it wrong. It's an Uncle Tommaso.
It's Uncle Tommaso.
Well, that's okay. That's totally fine.
That's okay. Okay, all right.
Yeah, we're good then. I mean, you're not going to get.
And I wasn't being offensive there. I was asking a question because I didn't know better. All right, and those are the best types of questions when you don't know better.
Okay, but Damien Leone sucks. Terrifier franchise as a whole sucks ass. I hope Terrifier 4 bombs.
She has the hottest
sick of
takes.
These flukes. So sick.
Like Damien Leone touch you in middle school? Like what the fuck?
Whoa. What pisses me off? All right.
All right, now you may hear.
Tell me on the door where Damien Leone touched you.
I just want to be just here's one of my favorite things about this. Jesse and I are just going to sit in the middle of this, and we are going to let this happen.
I'm okay with that.
Thing ever. Okay, go.
No, Terrifier 2, the whole reason it blew up was a fluke, because Halloween Ends sucked, and we had
I agree with that. I think the whole world agrees with that.
Everybody, including us, was like, we don't have a movie to watch. Let's watch Terrifier 2. But the shit this man talked right before Terrifier 3 came out, saying that this movie was going to go hard in the paint, no other horror movie showed kids getting killed in the movie, that they were just going to do all this shit. It was going to be scary. It was going to be gross. It was going to have a plot because, the man doesn't know how to write. It was going to have a plot.
My movie's going to have a plot. I want to brag about that real quickly.
That's what he did. Terrifier 2.
Is that really necessary? Jeez.
Okay.
Not like you're making fucking Shakespeare.
No, but it's fucking necessary when you decide you're going to bring angels and demons in with the clown. So, if you're going to bring that in, you actually need to, fucking do shit.
I agree.
The man said that this movie was going to go insane. Did it? No.
I disagree, but all right.
All right, counterpoint. All right.
How many cutaways did they do?
Wait, let him have his counterpoint, then you can have your counterpoint.
All
right, Balls, counterpoint. Go.
I mean, like I said, man, in this age of, multiple ridiculous reboots and reimaginings, is it too long? I think Terrifier 2's main problem, and from what I've talked to people, their problem with it is it's too long. I think if you would have trimmed it up and kind of, to your point, if there was a bit more of a story, I think the problem is it left more questions than answers. Yeah. And I think that frustrates a lot of people. But man, I've never heard such free floating hostility towards that dude. I've met him so many times. He's one of the kindest people I've ever met. It's blowing me away to hear such hardcore hatred for a dude that I've met that's been so super nice to me.
To be fair, I hate him because he's a two-faced wimp, and his shit is not good at all.
I guess that millions and millions of dollars and the people that love it are wrong, huh?
I have to follow up.
Nothing, because how much money did Halloween Ends make? Halloween Ends made a shit.
Well, that's because they've been jerking people off for 30 years waiting to see the end.
Guys,
I want to know people are invested. They're going to go see it, whether it's dog shit or not. Like the past fucking 4 sequels.
Guys, I want
zombie bullshit.
I want to quote the Joker. Guys, it's not about the money. It's about the message.
No.
That's not a good arguing point.
Listen, I'm trying to marry this all together, okay? It's my job.
Good luck with that.
I will be leaving in 2 minutes because I gotta take my night meds. But
we got you. Fuck Damian Leone. Message taken.
That is my hot take. Also, I just think if you talk all this shit that you're the greatest.
So you don't think the bedroom kills like crazy at all? Everyone I know thinks that's one of the worst kills in horror.
No, the second movie is great.
The second movie, the plot still sucked, but it was better. My thing is the third. I just don't like it. The third movie, my issue is he was talking all this mad shit, saying that this movie was going to be insane and it was going to be the greatest gift to the horror community. He sold out. Because that movie, if you look at it gore for gore wise, there are so many more cutaways in 3 than in 2.
I have to agree there is cutaways. I have to agree.
His style has always been Family Guy.
But the thing is, we can eat through the second movie. I could eat through the third movie. I was not grossed out. I did not look away. And also the plot fucking sucked, and it just... The man said this was going to be the cruelest, goriest horror movie, and it really wasn't, at all.
As a newbie to the horror culture, the eating test is a very big indicator on a horror film.
But here's my thing. She's into hardcore giallos, which are out of their fucking mind most of the time.
They're good.
So that might be why you're able to eat through some of them.
No, because what was the movie we just saw that I was grossed out by?
Ugly Stepsister?
Yeah, I couldn't eat through that. That shit.
Oh, that was a disgusting movie.
It was
That
good.
was
That was
absolutely.
I tell you what, the tapeworm thing almost made me puke.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No.
I have
didn't like that.
any sort of like worms or any of that. And like, yeah, everybody in my household almost puked at the same moment. So
Yeah.
that's what I call masterpiece.
I'm just saying the Terrifier franchise, Damien Leone is the biggest downfall of said franchise.
This is my wife's hot take. I tried to convert her back. I've tried, guys. It's there.
Listen, I don't like white men who talk themselves
Neither do
up
I.
and fucking suck, okay? This man delayed the release of, what the fuck was that movie called?
Streams.
Stream. Delayed the release of Stream for fucking, it was Terrifier 3. Yeah. For Terrifier 3.
She likes Stream. She
I
likes
love
Stream.
Terrifier 3
You know, a
sucked
white guy
out.
directed that, right?
I don't care. It was good. I am saying I don't like talentless.
No, balls. It's Italians. It's Italians.
The Italians, we hold up to a higher standard.
Yeah, we do.
Because there are people.
My mom doesn't like me. I didn't live up to a higher standard. So so what she's saying has some validity. It has some validity.
Like,
well, I'm gonna drop a bombshell on all you, man. I'm Italian too. My real last name's Maroni.
Sorry. I love when now this whole room is full of Italians. I'm so excited.
It was so loud.
I'm just sorry. I love it.
And on this week's episode of Horror Film, here's why we all hate Italians. The scariest.
Quick fact: the Italians were 1/3 of the Axis. Anyways,
now that is scary.
That's just a historical fact.
You should just name this episode "Fuck Damien Leone" and be done with it.
Yeah, watch Bride of Pibby where you watch Sarah make me sweat over her hot things.
I'm sorry, the man is not good.
Okay.
I'm gonna go take my
I gotta go
meds.
get my first question in.
Fuck Terrifier.
Okay, all right. Now, the first question of the night is...
He's not wrong, though. I mean, Terrifier.
Thank you and good night.
She walks up. She mic drops off my podcast all the time. She's a resident mic dropper.
No, man, I actually appreciate that passion because I'm the same fucking way, so I totally get it.
Yep. That's the thing about horror. We could all bullshit.
We're all like that, man. Like, that's fucking... I'd rather see somebody have a fire in their belly than be complacent.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you this. So, Balls, what was your favorite horror movie this year?
You know what, man? You know, it's funny because, as you know, like, horror goes in peaks and plateaus where there's usually a ton, where there's a drought. It was a really hard pick this time because there were so many fucking good fucking things to pick from, man. Like, I mean,
know. Like, they actually really, like, gave it everything.
I got it narrowed down to 2 different movies, though, and I still am having a hard time trying to differentiate what's the better film. For me, it's between Sinners and Weapons.
I think those are the two neck and neckers. I mean, right now I know Warner Brothers is going to announce a huge Oscar campaign for the film, and then Weapons, man, that movie was so good. I mean, what's his name? Jordan Peele fired his agency.
Let me just ask one question.
Yes.
Here's how I'm going to differentiate between maybe what's the better movie. Did Weapons give a play-by-play on the proper way to eat pussy?
No, it did not.
Unless I'm watching it the wrong way. Maybe I missed something.
Dude, I just love Sinners because I just want them to mic up the line anytime Josh Allen plays. And everybody's like, your wife spits in my mouth. And they're just fucking. Dude, I remember seeing that. And I love when, I know that there's a fine line between acting and getting cucked. And like, look, I understand it's acting and the kiss meant nothing. I understand that. But god damn, that was like.
Yeah, can you imagine explaining that to your SO? Like, that spit didn't even taste good, honey.
I was like, Woo! Okay.
So, Balls, flip the coin. Which one do you go with? Do you go with Weapons or you go with Sinners?
Fuck, man. I've been trying to think about it all day. Like, I mean, it's so neck and neck, but because there's reasons why I think maybe the one should excel, but then there's reasons why I think the other one might be better.
Okay, would it be fair to say that Weapons is legitimately a scarier movie? Like, has more. Like, I feel more.
Going for like sheer suspense,
Yeah.
I would probably say Weapons.
I would say Weapons has the most suspense. While
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, and Sinners, but the Sinners was going in a different direction. They were going through the religious trauma kind of.
So I guess it all depends on, how deeply religious you are. Because I mean, if you're deeply religious, maybe Sinners would be more scary to you. But I mean, I have faith too. But I still think maybe Weapons is maybe more suspenseful on sheer imagery. I think Weapons is probably scarier.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, Sinners, the one thing that scared me was like the moment where a lot of the old vampires are all praying with them. Like that to me was such a big moment because up until this point in vampire lore, religion makes vampires not like go away. You hold the cross up, they run away. But I think it was such a strong message to be like, no, there are evil forces in this world that can pray just like you. And that to me was a very strong message that they put into the movie, which I found.
It's what makes it such a hard conversation between these two movies because both movies were very, they were saying something society based. They were saying something about ourselves as people, society, how we, what the collective is. Like both stories have this theme of like what happens when the collective is either wrong or in danger. And what does that response look like? And what do people do in these like life or death situations? Both were very political and politically driven. They were, but Sinners is just such a crazy movie though, because then it also takes on this musical side that obviously Weapons doesn't have. Like the music and the way that story was driven through music in Sinners is something that I'm new to the horror stuff. It was done in a way that almost felt like you could classify it as a musical. You can classify it as almost a horror musical. It
was kind of like they were just. I love when they kind of describe that music and travel through time kind of deal. Like music is so transcendent of time and space. Like when they're all dancing and then they're showing the future and the past, because music is that powerful for people. It moves people. It's a force to be reckoned with.
Here's some philosophy. It's creation in the face of destruction. That's sort of art, and that's sort of like this absurdist, like telos or like foundation is this idea that if you want to fight destruction, then you have to create. And creation happens through art, and that art can be music or writing or whatever. And that movie was very focused on this idea that music in that form of art, it's how the culture protects itself. It's how the Black community protected itself and insulated itself against the evils of, the racist whites and I guess just whites and Irish guys in general. And again, like also teaches you this like amazing lesson that like if a bunch of Native Americans show up at your door and they're like asking you for something, just give it to them. Don't ask any questions. Don't fight it. If they're like, hey, there's something going on in there, just give them whatever they want. You'll survive.
That makes sense. And that brings us over to our first comment today, or topic, excuse me. Why is original horror feeling fresh again? Like why does it seem like it's coming back, and why is it this time around it's generating as much box office buzz as say a movie that's an IP or a Marvel movie?
I have an opinion on that. Yep. I think the reason why original horror is feeling so fresh again and making such a huge comeback is not only because horror fans specifically has wanted this for a very long time, but that being said, they're also very fickle because then when you give it to them, they're like, oh, I don't like this, and there's a problem with this. We're like the most picky motherfuckers in the whole of any genre of film, I believe. But I think the reason for it is you have an overabundance of reboots, remakes, reimaginings. People are just sick of seeing the same shit reimagined, rebooted over and over again, and most of the time mediocrely. So when you do have people that are willing to take a risk, and you do have people that are willing to tell an original story, it seems all the more fresher.
I agree with that. I mean, and it's like they're trying to tell, and the stories they're trying to tell are very simple stories. They're not complex. They're not like, and I think that's when you have the best stories. When they're just like Weapons. What is it about? It's about a woman's obsession to find her class. Her class. You know what I mean? It's a very simple story. Yes, there's other nuances to it. What's Sinners about? It's about these two brothers that have they want to start their own juke, and it goes horribly wrong. You know what I mean? How's it go horribly wrong? Vampires.
I think what helps with all this too, and maybe I'm biased as a comedian, but I think even just in general, I think creative people are allowed to be free, seemingly making horror movies. Maybe it's a product of like the studios or of like the actual money, not understanding it, so they don't want to put their thumb on it. And it's allowed these intensely creative people to thrive in these environments. A guy like Zach Cregger is an intensely talented person. Ryan Coogler is one of the best directors right now working. And then so for him to go into that environment and just be allowed to do whatever he wants, that means something. Same thing with Jordan Peele. Like these are incredibly talented people who are kind of being given a sandbox to do whatever. And I think that's also what's going to separate it from like those major IPs, right? Like, the stories of like this Marvel movies essentially being made by committee, or the DC movies, at least before James Gunn, being made by the executives because they just want to make sure they sell enough ads for it. Like these aren't being cut out that same way. And I know that's always going to help.
I agree with that. I mean, I think also notice that like a lot of these people that are making the horror movies aren't traditional horror movie background people. These aren't, you know what I mean? Like Zach Cregger was a comedian. Ryan Coogler was an independent drama director. You know what I mean? Like these are people that are very outside their wheelhouse going into this new wheelhouse with, I guess, certain tools that I think that like more traditional horror movies have, but don't have. Does that make sense? Like, they're coming, like, Ryan Coogler was like, yeah, I can make a horror movie. But what if I make a horror movie with the same intensity as I did with Creed? And then Zach Cregger, like, yes, I can make a scary horror movie, but what if I put in enough quirky energy that the Whitest Kids had? You know what I mean? And I think adding those in gave those movies their own taste, their own flair. I mean, Jordan Peele, I mean, his movie, like I said, like it has a lot of.
There is no other human being on this earth with the type of eye or creativity or the ability to see absurdity and fear the way that like Zach Cregger or somebody who comes from this background would be able to see, to be able to create something so visually terrifying and hilarious. That is, again, spoiler alerts, right? We're okay with all spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers.
To have something so visually terrifying and hilarious that is 17 children under a spell chasing a witch throughout a suburban neighborhood to then cannibalize her in the most violent way possible. There isn't a human being on this earth who could pull that off other than a comedian or somebody who is coming from that background.
Even that moment, Balls, I mean, that was a funny moment. What were your thoughts on the crazy chase scene?
Well, I think if you look back, I mean, there's always been a correlation between like horror and comedy. Comedy, even if you look at your most scary horror film, comedy has always been like a conduit of diffusing things. Like, or else it's going to be A, too dour, or B, just too, depressing. So like if you look at like classics like Creepshow and different movies like that, the funny parts are funny, but it's to diffuse the scary parts, from being scary. So there's always that good break, that good, that good separation. Because like I said, if you just had a straight, people always like, I want a scary movie the whole way through. you kind of do and you don't, because if it's like that, it's going to come off dour, it's going to come off depressing, and I always feel like horror and comedy should go hand in hand. I mean, not over the top like Sharknado and shit like that, but like subtle comedy, like when you see those like classic old films. I think that's the that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it also diffused, but it also, in my opinion, it kind of takes you off guard. Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes when you have someone laughing, you have them laughing at the joke going, oh, I'm relieved, it was nothing. And then, boom, there is something.
I agree, because then you let your guard down again, and then they smack you right again. So,
like, because even when the aunt was doing the stick trick with the couple, like, and they're just watching, it's kind of a funny scene where she's like, I would like a bowl of water. And it's like, okay.
Yeah, well, so like the husband, the principal's husband or boyfriend or whatever, like it was funny because like that scene's registering in a couple different ways, and it's like the principal is aware of the eccentricity and the weirdness of the aunt, but then to his husband or boyfriend, this is a new person, so it's funny, like he's just seeing her as like this, like, oh, she's just like this eccentric like aunt, like how weird and niche she is. Oh, she doesn't drink out of cups, she drinks out of bowls. How hilarious. And you see him in the background like enjoying this, while in the foreground you see the principal like, what the fuck is like like you could almost see the look on his face that he feels that something's wrong just because he's spent more time in this woman's presence compared to, his significant other. And I thought like that was such a subtle and really cool bit of storytelling, and like it used that hilarious like eccentricity, and look how weird this like hippie, like your hip, and that's another funny side story. It's like your hippie aunt comes to town and she ruins the whole fucking family. She comes in with her weird, like her fucking incense and her goddamn oils and shit, and then all of a sudden mom and dad are stuck at the fucking table, and now I gotta walk home from school. Like,
yeah, what's so great about that scene also is how funny it started and then how not funny it ended. Like, it like as the scene went on, it got less and less funny.
I don't understand how Zach Krager's able to do this, but he is one of the few people, again, maybe the only person on this earth, who can make someone having their skull bashed in fucking like terrifying and also making you laugh. Like he did it in Weapons, to where, you have the most like horrendous headbutting sequence ever created, while this fucking crazy witch bitch is like putting tea together and just like having it. And like for some reason he pulled that shit off in Barbarian. It definitely wasn't as funny, but like even when fucking Alex Skarsgård gets his fucking head bashed into the wall when the girl first comes downstairs and realizes like kind of what's going on, he like sees her, and then there's like this quick moment and then just the image of like this creature coming out of nowhere. It was done in such a funny way, and then Alex Skarsgård's getting his head bashed into a wall, and you're like, oh my god, this is horrific, but why do I feel something funny from this?
Which, by the way, side story, for this is also to show how good Barbarians is, because it was like what Jaws did to beaches. This is what it did to Airbnbs. So Balls and I, we were at Troma, and we were at Airbnb. And the year before, it was a little rough because we had an issue with some of the people that hijacked it and stuff like that. It was a mess. So I was like, all right, whatever. So I was like, this second experience going to the Airbnb, I was like, oh, this is gonna be amazing. It's gonna be amazing. And then they're like, where's your bed? So over there. And my bedroom is right next to like a small little trap door in the wall. And I'm like, fuck this. I'm like, I think I want the crazy couple instead. I'm going to get nursed by the barbarian monster. And then, boss!
Baby.
He thought he was getting nursed by the barbarian monster. Here he woke up and I just had my very pity in his mouth.
And I thought I was going to get tit milk. I was like, oh no!
There's a cavity to baby.
I'm just like I'm fully aware that next time we go to Tromathon, you're gonna be like, oh, you have to stay with this one person. It's your hippie aunt with a stick. And I'm like, Balls, we have to
change. Okay, you outed us, man. We've been planning this shit every year now.
Every year.
I seen that word. I was like, fuck that. Feed Jesse. I'm to get the fuck out of here.
I actually moved one of the beds in front of it.
I don't blame you.
So I had like a head start.
I know what comes out.
Get killed. Like, oh shit. But again, I tell that story because that's how effective a horror movie is.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes if you can make something scary past the movie, that's when you have something, I think, golden, where the movie's over, you're safe, but you don't feel safe. Because there's these things in the world that linger that could now happen to you because this horror movie introduced it. I mean, like I said, Jaws, that's what it did to the beaches. People were afraid to go back in the water after watching Jaws. You know what I mean? I was sleeping next to that trap door all night thinking like, oh crap, I might not get to see Mr. Melvin. Like I was like, I might not see Mr. Melvin tomorrow. I could be dead. But no, it's a lot of fun and stuff. So let's keep moving forward and stuff like that. So I know we're talking about horror movies feeling fresh and all that stuff and everything, but I want to kind of go in this direction. This might get us into kind of the Toxic Avenger and stuff like that, which is the new movie you guys saw. But like, so you two are huge fans of Troma. Not only are you huge fans, you've appeared in Troma films, and you're going to be in the upcoming one, which do you both get killed or one of you get killed?
Both.
We're not going to speak in absolutes, but if all goes according to plan, Balls and I are going to have two pretty weird kills in the Papa movie. But two, things could always change in the editing room.
Of course. What can you tell us about the movie? Can you give us the title? I'm not sure like how much I'm allowed to give out. I'm not sure if any NDAs were signed, and I don't want to be the guy that's just screaming.
Oh no, Lloyd's new movie that he's they're hopefully going to be wrapping up here, within the next 6 months or so, year. Power of Positive Murder. It's such a ridiculous fucking premise. It's Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment, but then Tromified. And then through the lens of Troma, which is just so fucking clinically insane. And just from the little bit that we've seen, like Adam Peltier, like just seems like he's just such a ridiculous lead in that. Amanda Flowers, like, had some ridiculous scenes. Luckily, none of us ever read Crime and Punishment, so we can't spoil any of the story.
Which is great.
I can't read.
Now,
I will say, one of my favorite stories from at least the set of that movie in regards to that is we would be sitting there watching. One of my favorite memories is watching Balls just get beat up on set while they were filming. And while that was going on, Lloyd was watching it on the screen, but then was talking about Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment, like reciting lines or like talking about chapters or whatever the fuck from the book. It wasn't me. I'll give credit to someone else. It was I think it was like Andrew, somebody else. Just without missing a beat, looks at Lloyd and goes, "Lloyd, none of us here ever read the book. Stop talking about it." I don't know if I'm characterizing the right person. It was somebody. It was so goddamn funny. But yeah, none of us know how to read, but that's what the movie is, and it's going to be fucking delightful. I can't wait to see it. The trailer for it looks so fucking dope at Tromathon.
Yes.
I hope they release it far and wide because it was cool.
No, I'm very excited to see you both in that and all that. And I bring this up because, I mean, Troma is one of the few things where they produce a lot of original movies, even though there might be adaptations like of Crime and Punishment, but it's an original take. I mean, it's, even the movie Avatar was just Pocahontas, you know what I mean? But it's still an original movie, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. What?
Or Dances with Smurfs.
Or Dances with Smurfs, exactly. Like, so, I mean, so tell us a little bit about your experience, you guys working on that film. I mean, you're not, because like I said, this is interesting because we talk about movies on this podcast all the time, but when we get to talk to people who actually are a part of these big ones, and just so to frame it, to understand who Lloyd Kaufman is, for those that aren't familiar with Troma, I mean, this guy, besides launching the amazing characters like Toxic Avenger, Kabuki Man, but he also launched the careers of so many people, and a lot of people had so many debuts in this movie, like James Gunn, who's now the head of the DC, Matt Stone and Trey Parker, who are South Park. Like, these are people that
crazy that the alumni group that came out of Tromaville are somehow valued in the billions right now. Like, that
billions.
is insane. But with
Kevin
Balls
Fox-
have to set expectations. We definitely can't say that we worked on the film. There are unfortunately actors who could tell way more stories who had to be there the entire time for 6 weeks, and I think all had to go to therapy afterwards.
Jesus.
We were there for 2 days. I mean, just it was insane seeing a type of set that is like a professional set with people who know what they're doing, like, and are like here to make some cool shit. And then Lloyd, who is a legendary director and just like mover of worlds, who somehow has been able to just wrangle people to do crazy shit for the last 50 years. Like that within itself is impressive. To see that in action, just 2 days on stuff that was technically supposed to just be a cutaway. It was intense. It was like 2 17-hour days. Balls can tell his story. We almost destroyed my wheelchair at one point. There was so much blood and guts. The second day we destroyed the chair, and I didn't get back to set afterwards because it took so long to clean the chair after we were done filming the 10-second scene that if I'm in the movie, it's only going to be 10 seconds, but we almost destroyed a wheelchair to get it.
And you get pretty much offed, pretty much. And that was so sweet because somebody literally brought your neck wound to the festival.
Oh yeah, Lynn, the special effects person. She gave me one of the greatest gifts that any human being has ever given me, and it was my slit throat from the movie. They put a slit neck prosthetic on me. And yeah, when we were at Tromathon, she's like, I got something weird for you. And I'm like, what could you possibly have for me? That's a strange way to start a conversation. And she said, and she shows me a bag of the neck thrower. And I was like, that's the greatest gift any human being has ever given me. I have it up on my shelf. I can't turn my computer enough, but it is up there being featured prominently for everyone to see. I've shown everybody in my life. Here, do you want to come see my slit throat?
Balls.
Lauren got some amazing pictures of Balls and I that are, I think, on our social media still, hopefully.
They're going to be in his book coming out too, by the way.
Oh, yes. The coffee table book about the making of Power. Because, okay, so Jens is one of those people who was there the entire time and will tell you probably needed therapy afterwards. He's putting out a coffee table book that is going to be the picture retelling of the creation of that movie, which is just so fun. And it's the best kind of coffee table book, because what other coffee table book do you have that's filled with blood, guts, and enormous titties?
Well, it sounds like a very marketable book and all that. So I would say it's going to be read by a lot, or read like Braille. But anyways, Balls, tell me about your experience on it. I mean, you've been a much longer time fan of Troma. You've been a huge fan of horror movies, action movies, splatter movies, all kinds of stuff. What was your experience on being on that?
Well, real honestly, I mean, it was checking off a bucket list item since I was a kid. I've always wanted to be killed in a Troma movie. There used to be a game show when I was younger called Beat the Geeks, and the whole reward at the end, like the big thing you won, was getting killed in a Troma movie. And I tried out for that game show constantly because I always wanted. That's one of my big things I always want to do. Crossed off a bucket list item, but I have to say it was one of, and I'm sure Wheels might agree, it was probably some of the best days of my life, but some of the most mentally and physically grueling days of my life at the same time. Because, like, I mean, I've never really been on, like, a real big production like that. I mean, I've been an independent fair and stuff, but I've never been on, like, that kind of big of a production. And going in, like, you didn't realize, like, you never quite know when things are going to happen. You're always trying to kind of be prepared. And, I mean, it's just a waiting game. Like, the first night that Wheels and I was there, we were there early in the morning. And they didn't even decide to take me till, what was it, Wheels? Like maybe one in the morning.
It was 10 p.m. I think Balls and I got called over to like start prepping, and it was okay. Balls is going to go do his scene, his stuff first, and then I would be going afterwards, or maybe go tomorrow. It was 10 o'clock, and then at 10:30, all of the power at the Burnbrae mansion went out. Like all they were, like every generator went down. The hardwire that they had into the house died. So then it took like an hour to get lights and like all the.
There's people running extension cords like back to back up a hill, like a quarter of a mile.
Running into the kitchen of the mansion, plugging it in behind the sink, unplugging the toaster, and putting $40,000 lights or whatever, however expensive the lights were into the kitchen sink, and trying to get that shit lit up. And
that was allegedly the ghost because it's supposedly haunted. So
yeah. And Balls, I don't think Balls started taking pratfalls on the wood floor until maybe like 11:30.
And at that point, they were so far behind schedule. They're like, "Oh, do you want us to go get you cushioning, like so you can do it safely?" And I'm like, "Yeah, fuck it, I'll just do it," because I'm thinking, "Oh, I can do it," I'll just. And it was like falling on this thick ass fucking like wooden plank, and I'm like, "Oh, it's not going to be that bad. I only have to do it once or twice." Oh, it was only about 36 times. So I'm like, bam, bam. I'm like Amanda Flowers, like pulling me in like professional wrestling. Bam, bam. Like after, and I'm like, I woke up the next morning and I'm like,
the Foley artist is not going to do anything on your scene.
But not only that, we asked them before we left, hey, what time do you need us on set the next morning? Because they did half of it, and then everyone's just like, fuck it, we're done, we're spent, we're leaving. So I'm like, okay, what time do we have to be here? Because we were only like 7 minutes away. Oh, just be here at 10. I asked like 4 different people. Just be here at 10. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. My phone's blown up. Where the fuck are you at? Why are you not here? I'm like, what are you talking about? They told me to be here at 10. So everyone's all pissed off from the car, like trying to get down there. Then I'm running. I'm fat guy running across the fucking like a quarter of a mile across the Glen Spey Manor just to get there. And then they're like, oh, if you were here, there was this one guy just had it out for me. I won't name names. He was a total con. He just had it out for me. He's like, oh, if you would have been here 2 minutes later, we were just going to fire you and reshoot the part. Blah, 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 blah. So then after that, I stood there for an hour. There was nobody there. Nobody was even there that was in the scene. They just want to. So I'm just standing there waiting for everyone else to get there. An hour later, everybody else gets there at 10 a.m. So I'm like, and then like I got pulled into there and body slammed about another 50 times, and then I was done for the day. But it worked out because I'm pretty happy with the kill. They made they made a dummy in my head where the eyeballs shoot out, but I won't tell you like the rest of the scene. I can tell you that much. But between Wheels and Eyes kill, I think it's probably going to be the 2 coolest kills in the movie, personally.
Balls had these like crazy, which Jens has a picture in it. He has like these crazy prosthetics over his eyes. They were like his eyes ripped out, and I'll just never forget my sweet father like gingerly walking Balls to the tent with these like just
he's holding my hand. He's like, all right, Balls, now come on now. And he's like leading me like a father. He's like, step over that. There's some shit right there. Step over the shit. And I'm like, okay, go around here, Balls.
Like
come on.
And that was, I think, the other funny thing too is like my dad helped me get down there, so he was hanging out with us. I think it was really funny watching him like also take in all of this because like the first day, I hope some of this footage gets used, but there was a part where like Amanda Flowers is gunning down a bunch of terrorists, and running to Amanda Flowers, like the terrorists, were like all these just naked women, like just titties flying around and running around. And like just watching like my dad, like watching Amanda Flowers gunning down these big titted women and all these terrorists, and this kid. There was this dude there who only had like an arm, and so they gave him a prosthetic so he could throw his arm away and blood everywhere. Like watching my dad watch this was just such a magical experience.
It really was. I have some of my
look at him and be like, this is what I want to do with my life. And he got to have a realization that I'm a total fuck up.
One of my best memories is with your dad, because like that first day we're just all waiting there. There's just chicks walking around topless, titties bouncing. He's like, guys, that lady don't have any clothes on. And we're like, yeah, we know, man, we know. Like kind of act like you've been here before, Garrett. Come on. He's like, her titties are just out. Like she's walking around with her titties out. I'm like, yeah, we're on a Troma movie set, dude. Like, he's like, oh, this is normal. Well, I mean, I don't know if it's normal, but that's how it is. I mean,
no, it was, even when we were watching Poultrygeist with him.
That was the best.
Yeah, he was like he was so shocked at like anything they could show in that movie they showed, and he was like,
totally.
Every 5 seconds, it was so funny. Anytime I'd watch the movie, I'd turn over at him real quickly. It was like watching a silent mystery theater 3000. Just like
I have a picture of him where he's just like,
it's no jokes. It's just watching his face react like.
It was the shitting. It was the ball. It was the ass going into the toilet and then shitting onto the camera that broke his brain.
That and also Fast Food Love, that song.
Oh my God, that's right. Yeah.
He was looking over at all of us like, this is a movie.
Best takeaway is he's like, I'm coming every year from now on. We made a fan.
It was just so goofy. It was so great.
That is the beauty of those movies, is like they're so fucking preposterous and like just there's like why? Like how do these movies, like how do you make a movie like this? How does anyone let you? Like how do we even ever, but like they're so accessible to movie fans. Like they're movies that like for some reason anyone, just as long as they're not too full of themselves and are like willing to like, okay, this is a movie and shit can happen. Like anyone can get down with these movies, which I think is really fucking cool about it. And they're crazy fucking movies.
And the reason why I wanted to save talking about Troma on the original episode of the Spooktacular season we're having is because there is such a, I want to see more original movies like this. And I say this because look at how many people, you guys did a documentary during the festival and you talked to many people about their passion and love for Troma films, these independent films, these original films. And the one thing that you got constantly when talking to different people was, where are you from? Different place, different place, different place. People were coming in from 9 hours, taking flights from California just to go to the middle of nowhere in PA to watch
stand in the field.
Yeah, what?
And stand in a field.
Stand in the field and watch these movies. What do you think? Why do you think, like, you know, so I guess I would bring this an audience. Are audiences rewarding originality? Are they destined for this, or you know, something destined with this niche and culture status? Like, what do you think it's all about? Is it originality we want, or is this a sense of belonging, or a combination of both?
I think it's both. Audiences have to be able to be given the opportunity to see these things, because I think originality is always rewarded. It's what we started the show off on. You have some insanely original movies being put into the conversation, and sort of what we're talking about with Toxic Avenger, it's lasted because it's original. But cult niche status, it's that way because not a lot of people know of it. But it seems like when people finally start to get hip to this shit or to these movies, finally watch them, then it becomes their obsession, and then they start seeking out more stuff like it.
Yeah, and I agree to that, because most of the time, like with Troma or anything with horror films, it's different than say a lot of action movies or comedies, because like you'll find out you'll like a movie and then you'll be like, okay, I got to go find everything this director did, everything this actor did, and you just fall down a rabbit hole of fandom, and you fall in love with it. You grow on it, and there's a certain expectation. Like, if I go here to this person who makes movies, I'm going to have a good time. You know what I mean? And just circle it back now, just to talk a little bit more. Like, I know the movie we're going to talk about next real fast isn't exactly quote unquote an original film in the sense that it's the first time it ever appeared. It's a reimagining reboot, but Toxic Avenger, the new one that just came out that's independent, it's a remake off of the 1984 film, which is a staple of Troma. Now, tell us about this new movie that just came out. How was it? How did you guys enjoy it? What was it like? What was the experience?
I actually, I love making Blair. I've been a fan of his work. I love Green Room. I feel like I was very skeptical when I heard about it, because like that's like that's just like untouchable to me. So I was kind of
yeah.
against it when I heard about it. The more I heard about it, I was like, yeah, because I'm a fucking snob to begin with. So I'm like, what a horrible idea. But then I heard he was doing it, and he's been a fan since he was a kid, like myself. And I'm like, you know what? If they're gonna do it and they have to do it, I feel like it's in pretty good hands. So then that kind of opened me up a little bit. And then like there was so much pushback about Peter Dinklage, and I kind of thought it was a really cool idea. I mean, the only issue, and I think Wheels might maybe probably say the same thing, is I mean, they captured the Troma spirit very well, but it was very tame, like in Troma standards. If I was that was the only really negative thing I could say about it. But they got so much right that I felt it was pretty enjoyable. I really liked it. I liked the way it looked. They got a lot of that Troma spirit and attitude and independent kind of spirit in it, and the comedy, all that was perfect. My only complaint was it probably could have, but you see, again, that might be that thing where you show too much in the trailer, because we've seen that Red Band trailer 6 months before the movie, and it shows some of the most, some of the biggest gore sequences in the movie. So had I not seen that stuff going in, I probably would have felt different.
I think the only one that I think the only really, really gross thing it didn't give away was the death of the killer nut dude. I think that was the only like crazy gore. Because yeah, I mean, some of those are crazy, but like it was probably like I could assume that they were making some safe decisions, because like the gore definitely could have been a little bit more, but it was there. The blood was cool. I think even the offensive humor was a little bit. There was opportunities where it seemed like they actively chose not to go with the more offensive joke, or to do. I mean, like even down to like this is just what it was. There was a character in the restaurant scene that was wearing a helmet. The implication of that is a person with Down syndrome, or the unkosher word is someone who's retarded. But it wasn't played by somebody with Down syndrome, and I know that's fucked up, and that's a fucked up critique to have. But if we're going to do offensive comedy, go all in sort of with that joke and with sort of what you're doing, and tell it as it is. But there seemed to be some compromise, and not even just that. There was other scenes, but there seemed to be some compromise. I'm assuming for the mainstream audience, though, or this idea of we're reimagining this to try and bring people in, and like the head squash scene, like I don't know how you felt about it. I liked that there was a head squash scene, but also like killing a kid, like squashing the head of a child in the original movie. That's that's daring. It's fucked up, and that's sort of what we're doing here. The head squashing, it's a symbol of something, and I think that should have been the most offensive kill in the entire movie, and it would have been a really cool homage, but it was kind of just another thing and another reference. So it seemed like it did want to play it safe, but I know I sound like I'm being harsh towards it. It was a fucking awesome movie.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I feel like I'm kind of being too hard on it, but I'm really not, because the good far outweighs the bad. I really did enjoy it. Like, I think it was better than I thought it would be. I actually really liked it.
Peter Dinklage brought such like a class to they could have went the Melvin route. No, they went Winston. It's a different character, and there was such humanity. Like the Melvin character, there was no fucking humanity to that character. It was a caricature. There was no he just was played as a joke. Peter Dinklage character, that was a human fucking being. He just wanted to survive. He wanted to live comfortably, and he wanted his son to be safe and happy and welcomed in this world and protected. And that it was so beautiful and was constructed so fucking well that even like what Macon Blair did to get the Peter Dinklage character, to get Winston to become the Toxic Avenger, that road, I know, like, I don't want to spoil too much for this because I want people to go fucking see this movie, but the road that it took for that downfall, it wasn't just happenstance. It was like the way that he got to that transformation was so fucking cool and human and relatable, and like you could feel yourself in it of like, I could go down that road. I mean, obviously, hopefully you don't turn into a toxic.
I just thought of something you saying that, Wheels. Do you think maybe maybe it wasn't so much tame, maybe just the fact that it had so much heart that like the original didn't cover kind of offsets everything else. I almost wonder if maybe because I mean I really enjoyed the relationship with him and the son. I think that was great, and I like this movie has surprisingly for a remake of the Toxic Avenger, it has a lot of heart in it. Like that's a good thing.
For the offensiveness that it's missing, oh my God, does it make up for it in dramatic effect? It makes up for it in humanity and heart. And like, holy shit, this movie understood the Troma spirit so goddamn well. And I hate being the one to say it because I'm new to this. Balls, you've lived this your entire life, so tell me if I'm off on something. But
I will.
I heard something in that movie that I pointed out to you afterwards. I can't wait to show people what we're making in the documentary that we started at Tromathon, because something that I feel that we've discovered in the creation of this doc is like the people who are obsessed with Troma and watching this stuff and consuming it at a high rip, they come away with it with almost this marching order, right? And I don't mean that as a bad thing, but this marching order to do something like, create something, a film, write, draw, make art of any kind, or something that is just as silly as I'm going to go to a field in the middle of fucking Pennsylvania with a bunch of like-minded people and enjoy community and enjoy movies. Well, in this new Toxic Avenger movie, this doesn't ruin anything, but because we know that the restaurant scene happens, it was one of the trailers. When asked about it, the journalist asked the Toxic Avenger, why did you do this? His response was the Troma spirit. All he said was, because you have to do something.
Yeah.
That within itself,
yes,
that's the fucking Troma spirit. You have to do something.
And like I said, that's why I wanted to say, even though this in this case is a remake, I wanted to talk about regardless of this episode, because I think the originality of what the spirit of Troma is outweighs.
It wasn't a remake. It was a reimagining.
I would say it's more reimagining. Like, yeah, because it's about 80% not the original.
Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry, reimagining. But yeah, no, I like I said, I wanted to talk about that because, I mean, with a movie like this, even though it comes from an IP, the company itself and what it does, it as you mentioned, that marching order, it does push people to want to create and innovate, and we need a lot of those. We need creatives, not just producers that sit in a room and make studio decisions on what will be the more popular movie if we do X, Y, and Z. It starts with a script. It starts with a good actor. Starts with a good director. It starts with them, and that's what's very important. Now, I know we focused a lot on this, but I wanted to head over to some of the movies that we talked about. I know we talked about Sinners and Weapons and a lot of stuff. So a little bit, we'll stick with these two since those are the ones we predominantly talked about. So in the spirit of Troma and what you guys are talking about, just because you have to do it, all stuff, how do you think the originality in these movies really capture the audience? Yeah, I mean, like, did you guys, when watching Weapons and Sinners, did you feel like you had that same energy coming from a studio movie where you're like, oh, wow, I got to go out and do something. I got to make something. I got to create something. I got to go and make something that stands the sands of time?
Oddly enough for me, no.
No?
So
expand on that. Why would you say that? Do you feel like...
It's funny. I don't. I mean, because like it's funny. I almost feel like looking back now, I think that's kind of one of the main drawing points of Troma. Like for some reason, that puts a fire in my belly to want to be creative and create. And I love and I idolize both of those directors in those movies, but I don't come out of those movies that I love and just am fired up to want to go do something.
Do you think it's because with Troma there's a lot of decentralization of the filmmaking company that is shown within the production value of Troma films, showing that can-do attitude to pick up the camera, just go and start shoot something, as Matt said earlier, just because you had to do something?
Maybe. I mean, I almost feel like maybe I feel like it's more, doable to do like when you're part of that machine than like a big Hollywood machine. Like I don't feel like.
And I guess maybe I should have clarified my question. But what I'm saying, I guess what I was trying to get more at is the originality of these movies, and that they're not just simply doing it in an IP to get box office. You know what I mean? There seems to be like Weapons and Sinners are huge gambles. They're huge gambles built upon the security of the directors, the writers that we know have done well. But it's I think it's an incredible aspect. It's like these movies. It's like they made a lot of money. They didn't just make a modest amount of money. They did, like you see a lot of award season movies that they just make just enough money to be successful. But these ones blew the box office away, and it's like, it's crazy. Like, what do you think got people to really go see these movies like crazy? Like, what made you think that made people go, okay, I'm going to see this not just once, maybe a few times?
Word of mouth.
Word of mouth? Yeah.
So I haven't answered your original question, and Balls can actually vouch for this, but it was neither of those movies, but it was a Zach Cregger movie. I finished Barbarians and legitimately wanted to go make a horror movie. It was an immediate feeling that I got, like after watching it. And I think to what you're saying is like, when you see something that is so, because I think what it was in Barbarians is, one, it was the first time I saw a type of horror movie that like legitimately scared the shit out of me and didn't rely on supernatural elements, incorporated a type of funny that was so fucking sick and sardonic and weird that it blew me away. Again, I still even think about them sitting in safety with the homeless guy who saves Justin Long and the main character, and they're like, oh yeah, we're safe, and then fucking Barbarian bitch like smashes through the fucking wall and like kills the homeless guy. And it's like, oh my God, like that's so fucking cheesy, but it was earned and it was so good. I think I came out of that movie being like, oh shit, that was so fucking original and so different. Now I need to try my hand. Like I want to try and write something like that. I want to try and create something like that. And it's probably different for every person because, if you're already a filmmaker, like that's where your brain's going to go. If you're a comedian, it's going to go to a joke or whatnot. But I think back to that original point of like, that something can be as simple as going to the movies, is seeing an original movie, Barbarian, Sinners, Weapons, whatever the fuck. At the very least, it's going to convince the audience or inspire the audience to go back and see something again, to go back and see that director's movie again, to go back and try another horror movie, to go and see a different type of musical for the first time, whatever. I think maybe that's the true impact of that kind of stuff, of that originality at least.
Yeah. No, I agree, man. We are out of time, man, but this conversation has been fantastic. I'm very happy to have both of you on. Balls, Matt, thank you guys so much for joining us. Stay on because we're going to talk real quickly after we go off air. But I just want to say thank you to everybody that tuned in live. I saw some people, Dylan, thank you so much for tuning in. You rock, man. Make sure you guys rewatch this, share it out to everybody. We talked about some original films. Check out some of the films we talked about tonight. If you haven't seen them, Weapons, Sinners, the new Toxic Avenger, Poultrygeist, we talked about that as well. Well, those are some movies we talked about. If anybody wants any other ones, Dangerous Animals, great film. Home, excellent original film. Presence, excellent film right there. Not really, so if you're into movies that aren't so scary, Presence is a great one because it just has a really good storytelling device. For you guys, I'll tell you what it is. It's a POV movie through the ghost's POV.
Ooh.
Oh shit.
Yes, and it's very creative. Like it's more haunting than anything else. It's not like you're gonna have nightmares watching this movie. It's a haunting film, which I like. Sometimes it's like a nice little mood movie. But yeah, so there's a lot of great original movies out there. So go check them out. Enjoy. Next week, we're going to be talking about some other films. We're going to be talking about legacy reboots and legacy franchises. We're going to talk about how, horror movies are trying to bring back the old IP and trying to give it either a creative spin on it or a reimagining spin on it, much like how we talked about Toxic Avenger, how they get a reimagining on that. So we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff. So tune in next Wednesday, 7 o'clock. Thank you guys so much. Make sure you check out Balls From Elwood show, the podcast. Where can we listen to that?
Actually, I have a channel on YouTube, BFE TV, and you can find that show, the show I do with Mr. Wheels there, Movie Snobs, and many other shows.
There you have it. Matt, anything you want to plug?
Check out the Movie Snobs podcast that Balls and I do. It is like the greatest project any of us have ever put together. It's so simple and ridiculous. I give him pretentious hipster movies because that's my background. He gives me horror movies and crazy shit that scares me and makes me uncomfortable. And we've made each other better people. So please check out that podcast. It means a lot to us.
Thank you, Jesse.
There you have it. Thank you for sitting at the grown-ups table. I'm Jesse, and we are out of here. Thank you, everybody.